Welcome back, Larry.
Well, it's good to be here.
Thank you for joining us.
Well, it's always a pleasure.
So, you left us off with telling us Miami is a very new city,
Yes.
being only 125 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us more about the history and kind of background into Miami and what challenges we face?
It's a young city. If you compare it to New York or Chicago or Los Angeles, there was several hundred years old. We're only coming up on 125 years in July of 2021, so it's right around the corner. So all these things you read about, they're growing pains. I look at them as growing pains. We have a lot of people. We're a very diverse community. We kind of tie in a lot of different countries, a lot of different languages, and a lot of different people. And everybody wants to be in Miami. We just came off a wonderful Super Bowl that was highlighted around the world. That was just a wonderful hit. We just came off of that. People want to be here. They want to be here for business. They want to be here for pleasure. They just want to be in Miami. It's an exciting place. So because of that, we have some challenges with infrastructure and construction and moving people from point A to point B. So those are challenges, but in my opinion, those are good challenges to have. There's a lot of cities in this country that don't have those challenges. We do. So I think real estate plays into that, the smart growth, if you will. About where people live, where they work, and where they play. That all has to do with real estate. It's all bricks and mortar. So we'll solve those, and I think we'll talk a little bit more about those solutions as we go forward.
So there's two kind of markets in Miami that have been really focused on in the news. Little Havana and Wynwood.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me a little bit more about Wynwood, what's going on there, the development, the infighting, all of that kind of stuff?
Both exciting places. Both come from two different perspectives. If you're from a historical perspective, Wynwood is a hip place. Everybody knows Wynwood. Tony Goldman went in there and kind of made it a place to be, an entertainment district, if you will, and an art district. So people want to go there. So you're seeing a lot of traffic, a lot of people going in and out, a lot of tourists, if you will, and businesses growing as well. That is transforming a little bit to a little live, work, and play. Some residential developments are going up. So now you're having this discussion about where it was a 24/7, 365 place to party and entertain and host. Now you got people living there, which basically they want to have a little quiet time late at night. So you've got a little bit of an overlap of what that should look like. So they're going through that discussion right now. I will say this is that they need to look at not only the hours of operation and what it should be, but they need to look at also the infrastructure. How do you get people in and out of Wynwood? It was an industrial area for many, many years. That's how it was designed as a support to the downtown Miami. But now it's being asked to support a lot more people, a lot more product, a lot more vertical construction. So those people got to get in and out of there, and you have that infrastructure to support it. So they're going to have to go through. That's part of that growing pains I was talking about. It's not just what it should be, but also the logistics of how it should operate. So all those things come together. And I go back to my friend Art Noriega. Not that he has a magic wand or silver bullet, but he's a businessman. And he has a way of looking at things from an implementation perspective and a reality perspective, not just a political perspective. But obviously those aspects have to be brought together. And so I'm very encouraged that they're now sitting at the table. Even though there's a little bit of a difference of opinion, I'm convinced they'll work that out.
Okay, and the second market was Little Havana.
Little Havana, yes.
I know that you know a little bit more about that from your family, so can you tell about the
I do. My family grew up there in Little Havana, right there on Southwest 1st Street and 10th Avenue. It's McDonald's right now. But what people don't realize is that area, Little Havana, west of the river, all the way to 27th Avenue and north and south there, that is where the majority of the population of Miami lived. They went to different high schools and different elementary schools, but that's where everybody lived. People think everybody lived along Brickell Avenue. That's not true. You had some very wealthy people on Brickell Avenue that were there, but the majority of the population lived out in what is now Little Havana. You have a very strong presence of Cuban American culture there as well. In the 60s, Cuban Americans came over and they settled in that area, and they've had a wonderful contribution to Miami. I'm very excited about the diversity that our city has right now. But a Little Havana, you have that come together, if you will, of the old Miami plus the Cuban American community, and what you have now is a renaissance of Southwest 8th Street, Gaiocho. That's my Latin right there, Gaiocho. So some people have really done the entrepreneurial thing of renovating a lot of those buildings and bringing back old Miami culture, Cuban culture, and it's a tourist mecca. Everybody wants to come into Miami, and it's a definite stop on the tourist attractions. But on top of that, people want to live there. So you've heard this term, live, work, play. So the challenge again is the same as Wynwood, is you have limited infrastructure there. You have 7th Street, 8th Street, 1st Street, Flagler Street. And even though Flagler Street and 1st Street just got widened, you have a lot of people want to live there. So we have to have smart growth, which means not just traffic, but also living facilities. How big do you go, how many units, things of that nature. The good news is you have a lot of infrastructure there. You have, from an educational perspective, young families want elementary schools, strong schools for their kids, and you have strong elementary schools. Ada Merritt, Citrus Grove, to name a few. So I'm very encouraged about that being in place and the growth that's going to happen there. On top of that, and I'll give you a little sneak peek, I wouldn't be surprised if you started seeing a reverse migration from a lot of folks that are way out in Kendall Drive, that are commuting 2 hours into work and 2 hours back home and are looking for quality of life. I wouldn't be surprised as you see they get this infrastructure right in a Little Havana, a reverse migration of people living out west moving into the east. So stay tuned for that.
Thank you so much for giving us your insight.
Oh, you're welcome. And that is the rest of the story.